Again, once again, welcome everybody to today's presentation. The topic today is how Sungrow approaches innovation with our new hybrid residential RT and our commercial string CS series inverters. My name is Paul Rusch. I'm a technology engineer with Sungrow Europe, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. This webinar is live, and a recorded version will be available after the presentation and posted to our website. In addition, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, please write them below in the chat box below, and we'll try to answer them at the end during the Q&A. If you are just joining us, welcome once again. I'd like to now introduce our presenters, Sungrow's Europe's own technical sales engineer, Eleonora Posetto, and senior project manager, Matthias Hartmann. Now I'd like to pass the virtual stage to Matthias. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the kind introduction. Today we got a huge set of slides prepared. We will try to get through it as quickly as possible while talking as fast as possible. As Paul already mentioned, I'm Matthias Hartmann, product manager at Sungrow. I work for the distribution business, and I am responsible for any technical related issues. So be it certificates, be it certain circumstances that are off standard for use for our technology or anything else, really, I'm the guy to talk to. And also with me today, there's Eleonora. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, so my name is Eleonora Potestio. I also recently joined Sungrow as technical sales engineer, and I'm also doing the same job as Matthias, so more on the technical side, but I'm focused in the Benelux area and in the Nordics countries. So for those particular questions, you can, of course, then revert to me.
Okay, thanks a lot. So let's start with a brief summary about Sungrow, because I believe not everybody here knows who Sungrow is, and we have such a nice backstory that is always nice to tell. On the left side, the guy holding the PCB, that's our founder, Professor Zhao. The company was founded as a university spin-off over 23 years ago. And by that time in central and rural China, electricity supply was quite unstable, and he often was approached by his students, and if he could help to make the situation better and to provide a good solution for a stable electricity supply. And he liked this idea, and he not only wanted to make a stable supply, but also a sustainable one. And today, I think the numbers, they speak for themselves. We are the first inverter manufacturer to surpass the 100 gigawatt threshold. So it's a big milestone for us, but it's nowhere near the end. We all know that PV has still a steep growth ahead, and we will conquer the rest of the markets that we didn't conquer already in the coming years with our innovative engineering. About a third of our staff works in engineering. That's how we get the products to the state that they have today. We are present in all over the world. We have subsidiaries in many markets. And for us today, I think the focus is on Europe, clearly. And this slide still needs a little bit of update, I see. In the Netherlands, we already opened another office. So there's continuous growth happening here. And more offices will open as needed. So whenever the market is big enough to need a local subsidiary, we'll open local offices and provide local language support to best help you out in case you have any questions. Sungrow is not only inverter manufacturer, we are a clean tech company. In Europe, we are famous for PV inverters and for energy storage systems, but in Asia, we do so much more. We built up the largest PV floating systems many years ago in China, and also in Asia, we are a big EPC. We are one of the biggest EPCs actually on the world. And since we have plenty of DC-AC conversion systems and such, we use the same technology for multiple purposes that are connected to renewable energies, such as wind converters or EV driving. So in an overall perspective, anything related to clean tech, and it can be part of our portfolio. Nothing dirty in here. Our portfolio, that's the next big thing that we are proud to show, is complete today. We span the complete range from small residential inverters, starting with 2.5 kilowatt, up to multi-megawatt turnkey containerized solutions tailor-made for your project. So depending on your special needs, we find the right solution for you. All these power classes we already have, not only with PV, but also with storage included. For the smaller ones, residential, it's hybrid applications, and up commercial and utility, it's battery only. So it's plenty of products, plenty of innovation happening here. And our focus today will be on residential hybrid, where we have brand new products to introduce to the market, and the CX series displayed in the center for commercial applications. Now, one of the key reasons to choose Sungrow is that we have excellent engineering, and with about more than a third of our workforce working in engineering, we take a huge step each year and have plenty of new features to introduce on a yearly basis. So a year ago, we introduced the CX series a little bit before we're ready to launch it to the market. This year, we will have the new hybrid introduced very shortly. And there's so much happening at Sungrow right now. It's really fantastic. For residential applications, we're really happy that this year we extended our warranty. Previously, it was just 5 years. Now we can offer 10 years standard warranty for everything up to 20 kilowatt. So it's really nice, especially if you take a look at hybrid applications where the battery usually has a 10-year warranty. So you have a complete system now with 10-year warranty. So I think it's easier to sell, and also it's really standard from my point of view to provide more than just 5 years. So we're right on track again, and can offer what your customers are really expecting us to offer. In case something happens, 10 years is a long time. Please don't worry. We take care. We have a hotline that is there for you, and we got a ticketing system, and we got skilled workers to answer all your questions. So in case anything is needed after the installation was completed and something breaks, we are there to listen and to help. So let's dive into the three-phase hybrid, our new residential product. We already advertised it a lot in the past few weeks, and plenty of customers are eagerly waiting. And we had to deal with a little bit of change of schedule due to Corona crisis. So we would have introduced this product a few weeks ago, but now we are ready. The first shipment is already on its way to Europe, and it will be available at your local distributor hopefully soon. The first market we will offer this product for is the German market. That's why we only have certificates ready for Germany mainly today, and other certificates like 5549-1 will follow shortly. So we're already working on that. Please be a little bit patient, and we'll be there in a few weeks with the next shipment, hopefully. So what we aim for with this product is to offer you more of everything. So like first we offer more certified customers, because at least in Germany, about 80% of new installations are at least planned with storage in mind. And depending on how your mindset is working, you may say, okay, I'm ready for storage today. I want it, and then you can have it. If you think storage is a nice add-on and you want to add it later on, it's also possible with this inverter. You can commission it without storage attached, only PV, and add the storage later on, a year later, 2 years later, when hopefully prices have declined even further. So that's also a common use case, at least in Germany, and also in case you need redundancy, because this machine actually provides you the same comfort as an uninterruptible power supply. So plenty of features included. Let's take a closer look. Our slogan for this machine is unique in its fast installation, because we put a huge focus on where to save time and to make it easier to handle, because not everybody wants to learn a complete new workflow for every new inverter. And so with this inverter, one advantage is that all the connectors are available from the outside. So you don't have to open up the housing anymore. No dirt will enter the inverter, and thus the product lifetime can be as long as possible. Our products, by the way, are engineered to make about 25 years. So it's not like we try to make it break after 10 years in 1 month, like several other products on the market seem to do right after warranty fails. The product fails. They're really meant to last. On the left-hand side, there's the DC connection panel. For the PV, we use MC4 connectors. For the battery, we use a SunClicks connector. So it's physically incompatible. In case you disconnect the inverter and want to reconnect it later, there's no way to falsely connect the battery to the PV inlet. So it's really a neat feature. And the AC connector, in case you already used Sungrow in the past, you may notice it looks the same as with our 3-phase string inverter. And it's the same Weidmuller connector. So it's a reliable piece of hardware, easy to assemble, and very durable. So it's what we need for a product that should last as long as we want it to last. The commissioning, we have a app called iSolar Cloud. And you connect to the inverter either via Bluetooth for most inverters, or for this inverter via Wi-Fi. And the app has a easy process that you just follow through step by step to bring the inverter online. So it's really, really easy and convenient. The inverter itself is made for being handled by one person only. So in case you have a stackable battery, for instance, that can be handled by one person only, then the complete system can be set up by just one installer, thus saving installation cost. And of course, we have the water level included in the backplate, as with all our residential products, as a neat trick to just make the perfect fit in the first go. The planning is very easy with this inverter. We got 2 MPPTs. And with the smaller power classes, 5 to 8 kVA, it's 1 string each. And for the 10 kVA, it's 1 string for the first MPPT and 2 strings for the second. So you can connect a total of 3 strings for the biggest inverter of this family. The battery connector is accessible right from the start. With other brands, you need to enter some code to activate this. With Sungrow, everything is included and activated upfront, no added cost, no hidden cost, just plain added value for you. The batteries we are compatible with are BYD, the battery box, HVS, HVM, and with LG Reso 10H and 7H. And BMZ will follow later. We're still working on that, but integration works is already on the go. So here you can see the complete list of compatible battery types. With the LG Chem, you can connect 1 battery, 7H or 10H in total. So only 7 or 10 kilowatt hours maximum capacity. If you choose BYD, you can stack the towers as tall as you can according to the BYD manual, and even run multiple stacks in parallel. So with the HVM, you can go as high as 66, I think, kilowatt hours. So there's plenty of capacity for any use case, I think. And we're really happy to offer you this huge variety of capacity. And everything is very easy to connect, really. So we will provide a separate document to even make it more transparent where to connect everything. And we're already working on an installation video to showcase how easy it is to set it up with different battery types. Regarding smart home, we're already very deep into it. we started using an open communications protocol years ago, which enables us to be compatible with basically any third-party data logger on the market, like meter control, SolarLog, or, for example, Energy Base. And I think Energy Base is of particular interest because they offer EV charging integration and smart power sockets and such like. So in case you have a electric vehicle at home and you want to charge it with your own PV energy from your rooftop only, then there's an easy way to do that. It's really, really very convenient to use. In case you don't want any third-party hardware, there's an integrated energy management system inside the inverter. So basic functionality, you don't need any other than that is already in the package. I will showcase a little bit more of these smart features that we are capable of without any third-party hardware in the coming slides. Our monitoring is free of charge. It's also a nice added value. When you use third-party data loggers, often you have a license fee to pay. With Sungrow, everything you pay up front, just the inverter, and that's it. That's really neat. Smart home features. We got SG ready inside, so it's easy to connect a heat pump to the inverter and tell the heat pump to run at high capacity and high temperature mode when there's excess PV energy available. So it's really easy to connect. The app will help you, and there's a nice workflow so you can integrate your heat pump into your energy management system. Also, you can you can define several running modes depending on how you want to increase self-consumption. So it's a nice way to increase self-consumption to close to 100%, I think, depending on your heat pump and your PV size. In case you have a grid failure, the inverter can disconnect from its AC port and switch to battery power mode in less than 20 milliseconds. So it's less than one power cycle, meaning the lights won't flicker. Your computer won't turn off. With other solutions on the market, you have several seconds of disconnect, and this is seamless. The DOs, it's one DO on the inverter, the question. And this DO can be used for SG Ready, for instance, or for other applications. So really, it's a programmable interface. In case you run it in backup mode, off-grid, it's fully capable of providing unbalanced loads. So you can have 0 watt on one phase and the other 2 on maximum capacity, and it's still a stable system. The battery maximum charge and discharge current got even increased. A few weeks ago, it was 26 amps, and now we got it to 30 amps due to some late optimizations for the hardware. So we're really grateful for that, because if you have a large battery pack attached, you can charge it in a few days, like the mentioned BYD over 60 kilowatt hours battery pack. You can charge that with this inverter. That's really amazing. And in case you don't have a grid where you are, don't worry. It's completely off-grid capable. We don't advertise it really as an off-grid inverter, because usually off-grid inverters have a higher overload capacity, and the 10 RT is limited to 12 kVA for 5 minutes. So it's only 20% overload capacity. But depending on what you need, I think 4 kVA per phase should be enough for many use cases anyway. We have plenty of other cool features integrated. I think I don't need to step through every single item. I think what is really important, though, is that it's scalable. Today, we allow up to 2 inverters to be connected to a single system. So if you have 2 SH10RT connected into one system, you use RS485 to interconnect those 2. And then you have a single unit 20 kilowatt capable of everything that a single unit is capable of. So plenty of power, plenty of capacity. and we are trying to increase this limit up to 5 inverters in the coming months, so that you could build up to 50 kilowatt systems out of these. Again, with 20% overload capacity. So it's really, I think it's cool, a really cool inverter. The communication, we got several means of communication included. We got a Wi-Fi. The adapter is inside the box. We got Ethernet, which is permanently attached to the inverter, and RS485 for third-party applications mainly, and for battery connecting and such like. Let's take a quick look what you need these different means of communication for. The Wi-Fi adapter is inside the package, and it will be used for the commissioning. With other inverters, we got Bluetooth integrated, but usually you would only use Bluetooth once for commissioning, and then you wouldn't use it anymore. So we would integrate technology, and you would pay for technology for a one-time use. And we thought it's maybe a better idea to switch to Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi adapter, once you have completed the commissioning, you can use it to connect the inverter to the internet and to iSolar Cloud or free of charge monitoring. So it's much added value compared to Bluetooth only. And I think, at least for residential applications, it's the right way to go. And it's really easy to set up the system. Once the adapter is plugged in, it will just boot, and you will see the status LEDs blinking, and then you can connect to the adapter's hotspot and start the commissioning process from there. If you have a router next to the inverter, you can also use a cable connection for connecting the inverter to the internet. Usually, cable connections are more stable, especially if your router breaks and you have a new Wi-Fi password. Usually, people tend to forget to re-enter the password at the inverter, and they just call the installer and say, okay, the inverter is broken. It's not responding anymore on the monitoring. And then when you ask, did you replace your router? And then say yes, you know the cause. And with a cable connection, that's no problem. Usually the router has a DHCP active, and then if you replace the router, it will just work out of the box. Also, you can use the Ethernet port to connect to energy management systems such as Energy Base, for instance. They use also Ethernet, and then they can exchange information via Modbus TCP. So it's a lot of benefits using a cable connection. The meter is also included inside the box together with the inverter and the Wi-Fi adapter. So there's a meter that is optimized for the use with this inverter, to give you the most benefit of the complete system. Without a meter, the inverter cannot function properly, because if you want to properly charge and discharge the battery, you need to know about the energy flows inside the house. So the meter is a crucial part of the system. Yeah. As already mentioned, warranty is 10 years now, so it's a complete system with 10 years warranty. And we are no new player in this field. I guess with over 20 years of experience, we are quite trustworthy today. And we extend our support and make everything better in incremental steps where we see the potential to improve. Yeah. As mentioned in the beginning, this inverter is off-grid capable in the sense of that you can use to run appliances during a blackout. There are some limitations and some nice features concerning this mode. First is that you can only run up to 3.3 kilowatt per phase, and then you don't need any external disconnection box. With other brands, you have an external disconnection box that disconnects the complete house, and then your islanding system will start booting up. So it takes several seconds to transit between grid connected and off grid. But with this approach, we can have a seamless transition. And how does this work? Let me briefly show you with this illustration. On the right-hand side, you have the grid entering the house, and then you have your distribution panel. And from the distribution panel, you route the power to the inverter, and inside the inverter, there's a backup port, and it can route the power from the blue half of the distribution panel to the orange half. Basically, you just split your distribution panel in half and have some of the appliances connected directly to the backup port of the inverter. These are, let's call them protected loads. And anything you have connected to the backup port will continuously run even through the blackout. Like in this example, all the lights, the electric garage door, and as many appliances as you like, as long as you don't have more than 3.3 kilowatt per phase connected. So I guess if you have a sauna, maybe run it grid parallel in a standard configuration, but most of the other appliances, really, you can connect quite a lot for 3.3 kilowatt per phase. In case of a blackout, you get redundancy, and anything connected to the inverter's backup port will just keep on being powered by the PV and by the battery. In case the battery runs out because you have a long blackout during all night and you have a dead battery sometime in the night, once the sun rises, the inverter will start booting and charging the battery and build up a island system again. So it's completely black start capable and offers a maximum of convenience. Everything runs automatically, and there's no need to manually access the inverter and restart it once it runs out of energy. So it's a very convenience optimized solution, and I think this is the future of residential, really. So thanks a lot. Any questions you have, write them in the chat, and we will go through them once Eleonora finished her part of the presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Matthias, for the first part of the presentation. Good morning, everyone, again, for who joined afterwards. My name is Eleonora Protestillo, and as Matthias already has anticipated, the second part of this webinar will focus on Sungrow's commercial portfolio, and in particular with our CX series. Our CX series, which stands for Commercial Extreme, consists of our 33, 40, and 56 models and 110 CX. These inverters are suitable for 1000 volt system applications and have a nominal AC output power of 230 and 400 volt. In general, the advantages of these products are many. We know how time-consuming the installation can be, as well as the commissioning of the inverters on site, for example. And therefore, we've put a lot of effort in making the installation very simple with such devices. The inverters have a really compact design and are equipped with very useful features for installation and commissioning purposes. As I said, the inverters are very compact, very light. For example, the 33CX series inverter is only 50 kilograms and is equipped, for example, also with handling grips. So also when you have to install the inverter on site and bring it maybe to a location a bit far away from where you had the inverters, it's easily transportable on site. The DC-AC connectors of the inverters are all Isabel accessible on the downside of the inverter, so usually it's not required to open any enclosure to actually access and connect to these connectors or the ports. Just for the 110 CX, the AC terminal is actually closed, and so you have to just unscrew two screws to actually connect it. But in general, all the connections is very easily. Additionally to these features, the inverters are also allow quite flexibility when it comes to installation possibilities. For example, we have sometimes some customers that asked us that if we can install the inverters in horizontal position because they have some requirements or some restrictions in space, and that is also possible with our inverters, which can be installed almost horizontally with a 10 degrees tilt on a mounting rack that we can also provide when you require this type of installations. As Matthias has also anticipated, commissioning can be done quite easily with our devices. And for the CX inverters, this can be done via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and also Ethernet. So directly on site by using our commissioning and monitoring app, iSolar Cloud. Apart from installation and commissioning, also maintenance activities can be quite time consuming. We all know that, and that's why we also try to achieve time saving during O&M activities. This is possible thanks to an effective and proactive monitoring system that we have in place, the iSolar Cloud, which is available both via web portal but also on your phone. So you can also have all the information always on the go, and not only when you're on site, for example. With the iSolar Cloud, it is possible to carry out remote firmware updates, setting parameters of the inverters, for example, protection settings according to the different countries. You can also limit the power output of your inverters. This is all easily possible. Another one of the newest features also for the CX series is within the monitoring system is the IV curve analysis. To carry out this IV curve scan, it's really easy. You just need to set a few parameters within the account for the models. For example, you have to set the type of modules you have installed, the numbers of strings, of modules per strings, and the date of commissioning, and then you can really easily carry out the analysis. In general, for full scale plant, this analysis can take up to 50 minutes, so it's also quite efficient. And this function then will really allow you and make it easy to locate the faults that have been affected your power plant. If it's maybe a broken diode or a glass panel cracking or dirt, that can always be seen and analyzed by our IV curve scan. Also, another important aspect to note is the compactness and the resistance of our inverters. The main part of the housing adopts aluminum alloy material intended for resisting harsh weather conditions. Usually we see that also many inverters on the market have an IP rating, so ingress protection rating of IP65, whereas for our inverters we have tried to push the limit up to IP66 in order that all the inverters are really fully protected against dust and other particulates or any external factor, environmental factor that could affect the durability and long-lasting lifetime of the inverters. Additionally to that, we have a fan also located within the inverters for smart active cooling. We will see that also in the next slide in more detail. And the fan located within has also an even higher protection rating of IP68. This is in order to make sure that also the air that comes within the inverter, inside the inverter, is also fully protected and clear from dust and other particulates that could enter in the inverter and then in the end damage it. Additionally, what we are also often asked is whether these inverters can be installed close to the sea, and the answer is yes. Thanks to its C5 corrosion protection rating, the inverters can be installed and operated in harsh environments. So, for example, if you have areas with high pollution rates, such as industrial area, that is not a problem. And as well as I also mentioned, if you want to install the inverters in coastal areas, this will not affect the lifetime of the inverters, just the normal precautions should be taken in consideration. So I think that's quite a useful feature for this type of applications. As I already said, another important aspect to assure long-lasting time life of the inverter, of course, is also proper cooling. In general, a correct installation of the inverter can already help dissipate the heat and avoid derating. Of course, the inverter should be installed in a cool, shaded, ventilated area as more as possible. Also, the minimum distances to the other inverters as well as the other objects should be maintained. But Additionally, we also have, additional to these precautions, we have also equipped the CX series with smart active cooling function. As I mentioned in the slide before, we have fans, high quality fans within the inverters, which adjust the speed in order to ensure that the optimal temperature of the inverters is maintained. So that, of course, will make sure that the inverters are durable. And if you consider that for every 10 degrees of temperature rise, the lifetime of electronics is also can be cut in half, then that's why we consider this function as very important. And for us, active cooling is a must-have feature for commercial solar parks and within our portfolio. Nevertheless, the inverters have also quite a good derating behavior. Here, for example, you see the graph for the 50CX inverter. We can see that for up to temperatures of 40 degrees, the maximum AC power can actually reach 55 kilowatt ampere. That means that for sites located in mild climates, we can also achieve 10% more power of the rated power of the inverter. So I think that's also quite a good feature to notice. The inverters in general allow also a good flexibility in the planning phase. If you have, for example, a east north phase installation, or if you want to install the DC-AC ratio, the CX is a suitable solution. And the ratio can generally be up to 1.5, and therefore you can adjust as required. All the inverters are equipped with several maximum power point trackers, to which up to 2 strings can be connected to. For example, the 110 that we see here has 9 MPP trackers, so up to 18 strings can actually be connected to this inverter. But of course, if you also need to increase the DC-AC ratio and you want to connect additional strings to the trackers, that's no problem. You can also do that. You just have to install also a wide adapter. So in that way, you can also install more strings and allow also more flexibility in the planning phase. The inverter in general are great solution for each type of installation, both for new solar parks, but also for repowering applications. For example, we've seen also an increasing demand in that field, and that's because our inverters have equipped with really several features that are usable for all type of applications. We know, for example, in the past, many solar parks have been affected by PID. It's been a big issue in the market, and as you all know, potential induced degradation is a long-term performance loss of the PV panels due to the leakage currents between the modules and the metal frame. So PID is usually most likely to occur under humid conditions or due to high voltage potential differences. And before, what we saw in many applications, many installations, was that third-party devices were actually bought and installed and retrofitted in the system. But with Sungrow inverters, that's not required, because we have included a PID module, PID function within the inverters, and it works as an anti-PID function during the day and a recovery function during the night. That means that during the day, the voltage to the ground of all modules is shifted to be greater than 0, and in that way allows the PID effect to be suppressed. And whereas during the night, we have another effect. An inverter voltage is applied to the modules in order to restore the degraded module. So in general, this function is suitable for IT utility systems and can have this double feature, anti-PID function and also recovery function during the night. So these inverters are also quite suitable not only for IT systems, but also all other utility grid setups. For example, also delta grids we often have applications in for those utility grids. Another useful feature is the Q-night mode. During the night, the grid may require reactive power, and in order to keep the grid stable, the inverter can also enter the Q mode with the DC when the DC input power drops, and in this way can feed reactive power and can comply with the requirements and the requests from the grid utilities. This function can also be enabled or disabled when this is required by the grid. The 110.6 says for communication terminals, so RS485 ports and communication modules for Wi-Fi and Ethernet, for example. And thanks to the Open Modules protocol, the inverters are also compatible with different energy management systems, as Matthias has already anticipated, like energy-based, Meta Control, and Skytron, and so on. And the inverters can also be connected to meteo stations, environmental sensors, meters, and so on. So can provide a full connection to all the devices that you may require on your installation. Here, for example, we see a close-up of the connection board located at the bottom of the SG110CX inverters. Also here, the MC4 PV connectors and the DC switches are located on the left side of the board, whereas on the right side we see the AC terminals and then the communication terminals. As I already mentioned, usually for the CX series you don't need to open any enclosure. Just for the 110 that you see here in the picture, you will need to open the right enclosure, the enclosure on the right, to actually connect the AC terminals. What else is included in this for this series of inverters? Well, as I already mentioned, the Sungrow monitoring tool, the iSolar Cloud, which can be freely used for commissioning and monitoring. Additionally to that, we are also currently working on our sizing tool called iSolar Design, which should be ready this summer in August. And the software will be, I think, a very helpful tool during the planning and sizing phase of your solar park. So I think I would suggest to check it out when we release that in this summer. To our CX series, we have also included some additional features as an options, as we've seen that we had some requests in the market in the past months. And for one of the options is an arc fault detection mode device. This can also be requested as an option for the new CX series that will be available in the following weeks. Additionally to that, Sungrow's inverters have plenty of protection features. The inverters have Type 2 surge protected devices for both AC and DC in order to keep the system safe and in compliance with global safety and local grid regulations. But if Type 1 is also required, this can also be implemented upon request of the customer and can be requested as an option with no problem. Additionally to that, we know that system protection is required from local and grid regulations. Recently, also in Germany, with the new VDE 4105, we had a requirement to include also NS protection, and network and system protection has been then kind of required also in the German market for systems between 30 kilowatt and 135 kilowatt. So we have included this solution also in our CX inverters as an integrated relay and an external monitoring unit, which has also system protection relay. The monitoring units compatible with our inverters are usually devices from Bender, for example, or from Zell Industry. The protective devices we have with the inverters can monitor the voltage and frequency of the supply network for the compliance with the specific tolerance. So in case the measured values are actually out of the specifications, then the grid feeding is actually interrupted by opening the interface switch and therefore keeping the system safe and in compliance with the regulations. So additionally to the CX series we've seen before, we also have the 200HX product, which is the biggest string inverter in the market and a powerful one. Differently from the CX series, this type of inverter has a 1500 DC voltage and a 800 AC voltage output. It should be kept in mind that this product is only suitable for free-field solar parks and not for any rooftop applications. The inverter has more MPP track trackers than the CX series. We have 12 MPP trackers here, to which also 2 strings can be connected to. So it's a valuable solution if you want to accommodate more strings. As for the previous inverters, also the 250HX is equipped with the PID functions. It has a compactness and durability enclosure. So here we also have protection rating of IP66 and corrosion protection C5. So we always want our inverters to be durable and long-lasting, of course, to satisfy the needs of our customers. We have also seen in the market a growing interest in tracking systems and bifacial systems, and of course these kind of setups require a higher full load operation, and of course poses some additional challenges to the inverters. And in this case, also for this application, the 250 product is a valuable solution in this case. So now we've looked at our inverters portfolio for the commercial applications, but together with that, we also offer monitoring solutions according to the needs. Additionally to the communication modules and devices discussed by Matthias in the first part of the application of the presentation, we also have suitable devices for commercial installations. First of all, we have the COMA100E. This is the communication device, is usually suitable for bigger applications, and it can connect up to 30 devices. It can support any device you may require on site, so from energy meters to metro stations and sensors and so on. It collects the operating data of the inverter, the transformers and other equipment you can have connected, and then uploads them directly to the monitoring system, either the iSolar Cloud, but also third-party monitoring solutions. This box is suitable for outdoor installation, so you don't have to worry about the durability of it. Within the COMA100E, we have the Logger 1000, so the device does not come separately, but just within the COMA100, and this logger is equipped with 3 RS485 interfaces and Ethernet port, and so it has can be used not separately but directly within the COM300. Together with these products, we also have the IM4. This is a wireless communication modules. It's usually meant for small applications, and it can connect only up to 10 devices, and also in this case it collects all the information from the equipment on site and then send them to the monitoring solution. And so overall, I think Sungrow wants to offer a full range of products in order to provide you not only inverters, but really the full package for your systems. And so by easily coupling one of the communication modules, you can then have really also all the information you need on the monitoring tool, which you can either look online, but also have on your phone everywhere you go. So I think in summary, our CX inverters are meant for those who are looking for powerful, compact, easy inverters, which of course also enhance features and the required features from not only from grid regulations, but also operational requirements. I think on this last note, I conclude my presentation. I hope this has brought you valuable information about our newest products. And I think we still have some time for some questions, so I will looking forward to any new questions you have in the chat as well.
Great, yes, thank you, Eleonora and Matthias, for your presentations. We have about 5 minutes for a Q&A. If anyone has any questions, write them below. We'll just stand by until then. And Matthias, if you'd like to chip in as well, you can say something as well.
Yes. Regarding how we enter markets, there's one question. And I think when you talk about new markets, you have to differ between markets that are already developed. So there's already PV inside the market and established structures, and markets that are completely new and blank plates. And if you start from scratch, it's a little bit more difficult, like in Africa and many countries. there's little infrastructure to build upon. So entering a market usually starts with we can ship inverters to such countries, but only supply you with a limited service because we don't have manpower on site in these countries. So usually when you use string inverters, that's not much of a problem because you can just swap defunct units yourself. That's really easy. And basically, if you are an installer in like Nigeria, for instance, you would be your own first point of contact. However, we would help you to become a good first point of contact. So we supply you with trainings either here in Germany or in our headquarters in China, where you can learn how to do the maintenance and run the inverters in case something happens that is not supposed to happen.
Great. Thank you, Matthias, for that explanation.
Any more questions? Usually there are plenty.
Right,
especially on our newest hybrid, we have many questions, but maybe you were too clear, Matthias, with all your explanations.
The one question I'm really waiting for is when can we buy it?
That's my question.
And as mentioned before, at least for the new hybrid, the first shipment is already on track to your German distributors. And it is already completely sold to those distributors. So in case you want to buy directly from Sungrow in a huge bulk, you're out of luck. You have to wait for another shipment. And the distributors who got lucky were in Germany, I think Memodo and IBC are the only ones to be able to ship the first batch. And once we got the certification for other countries ready, we will also provide units to our other distributors for our markets, like Netherlands or Eastern Europe, Nordics, and so on.
Okay, great. I have a question here from Herbert. Will Sungrow show up with its own battery solution for the hybrid?
It's already in the works. We have a joint venture with Samsung SDI already. So we, for at least for containerized solutions, we integrate Samsung cells into our container solutions to provide turnkey battery packs together with turnkey inverters. And for residential applications, we already have our own battery pack in Australia. And we'll follow this lead in Europe, I think, maybe next year. This year, I think there's not enough time to finish everything to perfection where it needs to be. But I believe next year I will offer a complete package for residential and maybe even the same for commercial. Because if you take a look at our virtual expo, there's also a integrated commercial battery solution. One big cabinet with inverter and storage integrated. So that will also be I think a good contender for Sungrow battery packs.
Great, thank you, Matthias. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay, I think we'll wait a couple more minutes now for any other questions. 2 more minutes.
The question, when will it enter the Nigerian market? Maybe get in contact with us directly, then we can forward you to someone who can arrange a shipment of a small quantity. Because usually when we want to buy directly at Sungrow, we limit those shipments to distributors because they can buy in bulk. We will not ship single inverters. We don't have a web shop where you can order a single inverter or just 2 inverters to test. This will need to happen through one of our distributors. In South Africa, we got IBC. So maybe they could be a first point of contact to get a working unit for you to test. Okay.
Great. So we have 1 more minute now. If anyone else has questions, you can write them below.
If you don't have more questions, thank you so much for listening. We really hope you enjoyed the show. I think there's much more to explore and to learn about Sungrow. And we are happy to provide you also with on-site trainings, with big training events like we did in the past before Corona happened. And hopefully once all this is over, we can start with these big training events again. Because it's just so much more fun if you can really touch the inverter and see the magic happen right in front of your eyes instead of just on a screen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'd like to thank both of you, of course, for here presenting, and of course our audience, you guys on the other side, our customers, clients. If you're just interested in Sungrow, thank you for listening. We do have one more webinar tomorrow. You can check it out by going to sungrowmarketing.com, and we hope to see you tomorrow. If not, we wish you have a good day, and see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.